Hey everyone, John from ARTV. It's time for a review of the 5th overall album and the 4th major label album by Miss Lana Del Rey. It's called Lust for Life, and it's the follow-up to the Borefest that was 2015's Honeymoon. That was a record that honestly put me to sleep. You might remember that I did kind of a parody and joke review of it. I thought it was funny. A lot of Lana fans did not, but you know, that's what you get, I guess, for making fun of somebody that somebody loves. I understand. It was all in good fun. I don't hate Lana Del Rey. I just think that she gets overhyped and praised way too often whenever the majority of her music is very dull, in my opinion. Now, with her most recent album, Honeymoon, that was kind of a snooze fest, to be quite honest. It was a low point for her because she was just coasting off of the vibes of some of her previous releases. I like some of the stuff on her debut, her major label debut, Born to Die. Like Summertime Sadness, the original version, is quite good, and I really love Blue Jeans. But a lot of the tracks on that album they didn't feel genuine, and still to this day, it just seems like the John Fasold parodies. The dude who did the Every Chainsmoker song, how it's written, he did how every Lana Del Rey song is written, and it really seems accurate. Like, she just picks out maybe a male figure, or she picks out a time period, or she picks out a topic that sounds cool or edgy and dark and puts it to an airy guitar, or now I guess a trap beat or a piano or something like that, and makes a song out of it. And I will give her this, on Lust for Life, she strays from that a bit, but still, some of this music feels like it's trying so hard, and it kind of drives me crazy. I think a lot of people love Lana Del Rey because she's kind of an alternative to pop music in a way. It's not that she's totally subverting it, it's just that she's in the scene, but she's talking about different things, and she's presenting it in a different way. And I can respect that most of the time if I just, more importantly, didn't find it to be so monotone in the way that she presents it. But here, there's actually some moments that feature more life. I mean, we saw the lead single Love, and even though I wasn't crazy about that song, I thought that, you know, maybe she's being more of an optimist. Maybe she's getting in a different zone. And then we got Coachella, Woodstock on My Mind, that had this throwback feel to it. And I can see where she's pulling from, what she's channeling, but this record is wildly inconsistent, and it's also wildly long. I mean, seriously, like 77 minutes of Lana Del Rey. If this album had been about 40 to 45 minutes, I probably would have really enjoyed it overall if she had cut down some of those filler tracks. But with it being the length that it is, this album is not an easy pill to swallow. It doesn't go down smooth. There's so many songs where you're just like, did that really need to be 5 minutes? Did this really need to keep going? Did you really have the idea there? And more importantly, and more often than not, the answer to that question is no, especially the last 3 songs on this record. They're all over 5 minutes. I'm talking about Heroin, Change, and Get Free. And those 3 moments are kind of a gut punch in the way that you just want to keel over it because you're like, is it over yet? And even though Get Free is the best of the 3, in my opinion, that close out this record, it actually has some cool vocal melodies on it and that sort of thing. I just don't think that there was enough there to keep me contained, or keep any listener, especially in this day and age, contained for just like 5+ minutes. You may be wondering, why do you think the record is wildly inconsistent, as I just put it? Well, it's because she kind of dabbles in several different genres. She goes from like kind of trap pop on like Groovy Love. Summer Bummer also has Playboy Cardi, which I'm not familiar with him before this. I had people telling me to listen to his mixtape, but I had never heard him until now, and it just seems like he's here in the background of this track to say, what, over and over again? I don't know. I don't know why this overly aggressive and just repetitive auto-tuned rap is so popular, but it drives me mental. And seeing this paired up with Lana Del Rey, I like the song, to be quite honest, overall, other than that. And that is a huge detraction because it's not just something that's in the background here or in one verse. It literally is like all throughout the song, the way that they space it out. Cherry does a similar thing where she says bitch in the background behind her own vocals in kind of weird spots. And I'm not exactly sure why. Like, yeah, you're trying to emphasize your apathy or the way that you feel, or the back of your hand, like talk to the hand, bitch, kind of giving the cold shoulder. I get it, but it doesn't flow with the song whatsoever. So whenever I'm listening to this already drab and droll song, it's just something that I kind of laugh at because it's so absurd and out of place. The first 2 singles that we got are the first 2 tracks on the album, Love, which I already mentioned, I'm kind of lukewarm on, and Lust for Life, the title track with The Weeknd. And listening to Stargirl, the interlude from The Weeknd's most recent album, I had promise for this track because I knew they were collaborating frustrating again. But honestly, that interlude is so much better. This song is okay. They both sound fine on it, and I think that Abel and Lana's voices sound good whenever paired together, but this track just doesn't have the charisma, the passion, the romance that it could, and I'm missing that. I wish that it was here, but it's simply not. She really does sound like she's parodying herself on some of these moments, like White Mustang and God Bless America and all the beautiful women in it. That one in particular is just, it's so slow moving that it really just irks me. It's not that it's inherently bad, but the lyrics are kinda just a little bit cheesy as well. I think that's the best term that fits that. And then on White Mustang, literally pulling objects, pulling a person, pulling a time period in your life, and just setting it to music. And I saw you White Mustang. I promise, I'm gonna get to what I like about Lust for Life in just a second, but first I have to just point out something else. There's a track called Beautiful People, Beautiful Problems with Stevie Nicks, and it just sounds like everything that I would say about Lana Del Rey, like criticisms of her, all emulated and piled up into one song. This is the personification of my criticisms of her, and it's just so full of itself. And that's fine to do a braggadocious type track. It's just that here, I don't even believe it. I don't believe whenever Lana sings these things half the time, because it's just like you're trying so hard to force this vintage angle that you're trying to come from, this perspective. And it's like, how old are you again? You weren't alive for that. You weren't there for that. So you got Woodstock in your mind. Oh, okay, sure. No, but that track in particular just struck a weird chord with me, especially Stevie Nicks. It feels underwhelming in terms of maybe what this could have been as a collaboration, and just the subject that they chose. It's just, why? We can't forget the ultimate turn up your nose high horse track, In My Feelings. That's just the vibe that I get from it. It's one of those weird moments where the way she sings on it is almost kind of annoying in and of itself. In my fucking feelings. And it's just like, what exactly are you rattling off about here? I understand that you're feeling yourself, you're in the moment, you're doing this, you're doing that, but does it really make for a good extended song? Like maybe like a one-liner here or one verse of a track, but just the way that this chorus just hits you over and over again, it sticks, but kind of in a bad way. You're not gonna believe me when I say this though, but Lust for Life is an improvement over its predecessor, Honeymoon. And I know that it sounded like, oh wow, you just tore half of the album's songs apart. Yeah, because there's a lot of filler content here and a lot of silly stuff that it's just so gimmicky that I have to overlook it or else distance myself from it or else say a little something about it just because it feels a bit ridiculous. But because there are so many songs here, like 16 tracks, I have a lot to choose from, and it's actually pretty easy to slice off some that have depth to them. Now, I already mentioned liking Summer Bummer for the most part. I can get over, for the most part, Playboy Cardi shouting in the background the what. It's just, it's weird and it definitely is grating, but at the same time, I like the track and I like A$AP Rocky's presence on the tune. And right after that, we get Groupie Love, which is kind of an interesting moment. It's a cut that sees Lana coming from like a fan's perspective, one of the groupies, you know, someone who hooks up with band members perhaps and that sort of thing. And she knows exactly what this band member maybe has on his mind. Obviously sex and the lust and that sort of thing is in his eyes. And she kind of plays it out over an interesting story and an interesting style on this one. Right before that, we had much more of the trap-leaning production, and that definitely is kind of predominant on moments like that come on Groovy Love as well. But still, I think that she kind of hit a nice mix in terms of the instrumentals on this record. Some of them definitely fall flat, and they feel all very related. I'll give it that. It's kind of a cohesive album, but some of the moments are so repetitive. But here, I actually feel like this one stands out a bit, and I have to compliment moments like that because of it. And then we have Coachella, like I already mentioned, Woodstock in My Mind. It's something that has a vintage flair to it, and that is much appreciated. It's a nod in the right way, at least musically, in the way that she sings on this track. Even if I don't like every single lyric on it, it's still an enjoyable tune. I am a big fan of the track When the World Was at War and We Kept Dancing. This is a great vocal melody and a great vocal presence from Lana Del Rey in general. This song is mesmerizing and I think it's one of her best, one of my absolute favorites from her. The chorus is striking. The story actually maybe feels like it was written from a different perspective, like through somebody else's eyes, but at the same time it actually feels reflective in a heartfelt way. And seeing that from Lana Del Rey, it honestly surprised me, and it's something that totally won me over, and I think this is one of the best songs on the album that you have to hear. here. It's very interesting that she got the son of John Lennon, Sean Lennon, to appear on a track. He's obviously been in bands and stuff over time, and he's done a few features, but seeing him pair up with Lana Del Rey for a track that, is it a possible nod to Tomorrow Never Came by the Beatles, Tomorrow Never Came by Lana Del Rey? Who knows? But I think that they actually make a nice pair. There's some chemistry there vocally, the acoustic guitar on this one. It's alluring, and it's something that I think I will come back to, maybe not time and time again, but still, if somebody asked like, oh, what's a Lana Del Rey song that you could point out and you would say, that's definitely worth hearing again, and I would say this one. I'm sure I'm gonna catch plenty of hate from the Lana Del Rey fans, but I just want to say this, just because I don't personally like her doesn't mean that I am God and that you have to listen to me. Now, that being said, I think that she's a snooze fest the majority of the time. She did step it up a bit here. The songwriting is a little bit sharper, and I think that she maybe tried a little bit harder to make something genuine, but it doesn't always pay off, as you heard in my criticisms of a lot of these tunes found here. But that being said, that's just me. I don't think that this album has much of a replay factor to it. It's way too bloated, it's too long, it's excessive in a lot of ways, a little bit too illustrious, and I don't think that it does Lana justice for what she can do. I feel like she's just been holding back, limiting herself in a way, and I hope that one day she'll be able to shake off this kind of pretentious vibe that I get from her. Overall, Lust for Life, I'm gonna give this a 2.5, at the most a light 3 out of 5. Be sure to comment your thoughts on the record Lust for Life in the comments section down below. Let me know your favorite tracks and that sort of thing. Check the description if you haven't heard the record yet. I've got a link to check it out on Spotify, along with my favorite and least favorite tracks. And if you're able to, support the videos to help reviews like this keep coming. More often than not, I feel like I don't get ads on my videos these days, or else they come like 2 days after I upload, which basically defeats the purpose, because that's when I get the majority of my views. So if you're able to, click that top link in the description down below. It'll take you right to my Patreon. Or you can click that annotation in the corner of the screen to go to my Patreon. Click right here for another Lana Del Rey review, or right here for another video that I did recently on the channel. If you want to find me on social media, connect with me there. It's all linked in the description down below. Other than that, I'll see you very soon right here on ARTV.